Hello, everyone. Welcome to another one of our devotionals. So, we had some fun arrivals at our house today. As a part of their education and also in the midst of everything that's been going on, my wife Megan ordered for our kids some tadpoles and some caterpillars. So, these will be leopard frogs eventually, and monarch butterflies eventually. And after our kids have raised them over the next several weeks, we'll be able to release them into the wild and hopefully add to the natural population in this part of Illinois and benefit the natural local environment in a very small way. I find nature a wonderful thing. In fact, it's one of the ways that I most often feel the presence of God. And I was raised by people who appreciated nature. I particularly remember my grandfather and some of my great aunts and uncles. I think in the old days they would have been called naturalists. They'd grown up in a fairly rural, well, not a fairly, a very rural part of Illinois, pretty hilly as well, where there were some nooks and crannies and forests and streams. And they'd grown up surrounded by nature. And in nature, they were reminded of God's blessings, of all the good things that God has created. So let me share one verse for you today from Psalm 66. This is Psalm 66, verse 4. All the earth worships you. They sing praise to you. Sing praises to your name. Amen. Now the psalmist, of course, is referring to God in this psalm. And I know in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of sheltering in place, there's not many places that we can go right now. But one of the places that my family has been able to go in these times have been to some of the county parks here around DeKalb County. They're one of the few places that are still open because you can safely maintain social distancing. And so when we've been there, as we've heard the frogs, as we've seen birds, as we've walked around, and now with the frogs and the butterflies that are going to be growing in their, what's the right word, enclosure? Not quite sure that's the right word, but are going to be growing in their habitat on our kitchen counter for the next several weeks. We sort of brought a little bit of nature inside for us. When I see the beauty of nature, the wonder of nature, some things that aren't necessarily beautiful, I'm not saying that they're ugly, but they're not necessarily beautiful, but they're just so darn interesting to see how nature works. There's so many different ways that living things can make a living, can survive, and can be part of an ecosystem. And I think about God and how God created all that. You know, there are some days I've been very down in recent weeks in the midst of this sheltering in place. There's a lot of things that I like to do socially that I can't do right now. But boy, am I grateful for the beauty of nature, for birds and for frogs and for all the other things that make life beautiful and the flowers that are blooming in this time of year. So, I encourage you in whatever ways you can, maybe take a walk, or maybe if that's not really possible for you, I hope you can at least look out the window. But I invite you to find some beauty in nature today. And may that beauty or interest, or something like that, something that you find enjoyable, may that turn your heart to God and remind you the source of all good things and how God is with us, even in these unfortunate and unprecedented times. I hope that offers you some hope and something to do today. Blessings to you. See you tomorrow. God bless. Goodbye.